ਸਮਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋ ਗੱਲਾਂ।
Good morning, sir. Actually, it has to start at 11:30. We are waiting for the participants.
11:30. Okay, the message said 11. All right, so I will come back 10 minutes.
सर दी ना आवाज साडे तक आ नहीं रही। सर शायद कुछ बोल रहे हैं पर सर साडे लिए
इत्थों
audible
बोल
नहीं है।
दर्शन प्लीज चेक करना, बीसी सर दी ना आवाज नहीं आ रही।
मैम उन्होंने डिवाइस कोई इशू ना आवे क्योंकि ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਤਾਂ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਪੂਰੀ।
ओके नीत नु करो।
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yeah,
Good
I'm
morning.
Samuel from Ethiopia.
Hello, how are you? We are waiting for the participants to join. Wait for some time.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Okay.
डाउनलोड कितने सोर्स थी। पेन ड्राइव है फिर सारा लैपटॉप भी रख लो। morning, sir. Andy, sir, good morning, ji.
Good morning. My voice is clear. How audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your voice is
Oh.
clear.
Wonderful. Thank you.
ਸਰ ਵੀਸੀ ਸਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾ ਸਰ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਵੌਇਸ ਇਸ ਉਸ ਤੇ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਨਾ ਕ੍ਰੋਮ ਤੇ ਕਾਈਂਡਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਫਾਇਰਫੌਕਸ ਤੋਂ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੌਇਸ ਔਰ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਆਣਗੀਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ Anji, sir, can we start? Mandy sir, कर लिए जी शुरू?
Bilkul ji, bilkul. Go ahead. All clear on my side.
Okay, okay, sir. हाँ जी सर. Good morning and welcome you all in the one-day national expert talk on Know Your Emotions. On the behalf of Punjabi University Patiala, I, Dr. Richa Sharma, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Punjabi University Patiala, extremely privileged to welcome you all in this expert lecture. We are glad to inform you that Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering is going to organize this expert lecture in technical collaboration with IEEE Chandigarh subsection and IETE Student Forum of EC Department. And the topic of today's talk is Know Your Emotions. Because of this lockdown to unlockdown journey of COVID, we are passing through a tough time. Many of us use their energy in a progressive way, and many of us are under depression. To get rid of these stress, we organize an expert talk to know your emotions so that we come out from this stressful time period. And this lecture is going to be delivered by a renowned personality of Thapar, Dr. Mandeep Singh, who is known as Mandy sir. And I welcome you, sir. For this, we have received overwhelming response and around 180 registrations throughout the country like Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Karnataka, Odisha, West Bengal, and Jammu Kashmir. Apart from this, we are having international participations. For this, I want to thank to all the enthusiastic participants. I'm sure this talk would definitely help you in the transformation. Now I extend my cheerful welcome to our Chief Patron, Professor Arvind, our worthy Vice Chancellor and Dean Academics, Dr. Balveer Singh Sandhu, and Manjeet Singh Patarji, Dean Faculty of Engineering and Technology. Now, I invite Dr. Ranjit Kaur, Professor and Head ECE Department, and Dean International Students for formal welcome.
Very good morning to all of you. So it's our privilege that today we have amongst us our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Arvindji. On behalf of Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, I welcome you, sir. And your presence is always a source of inspiration in every event of our department. So I also welcome Dean Academic Professor B.S. Sandhuji, Professor Manjeet Singh Patad, Dean Faculty of Engineering, our Speaker of the Day, Professor Mandeep Singh, Professor in EIE, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala, and all the honored guests, faculty members, and the participants from the Punjab as well as from the other states of India. Also, the international students presently studying in university has shown a very keen interest in this topic. So today we are all here for an expert talk on the topic Know Your Emotions. So in my point of view, emotion awareness help us to know what we want and what we don't want. It help us to build a better relationship. That is because aware of our emotions can help us talk about feelings more clearly, avoid or resolve conflicts better, and move past difficult feelings more easily. So with practice, everyone can be more aware of their emotions. Emotional awareness is the first step toward building emotional intelligence, a skill that can help people succeed in life. All emotions tell us something about ourselves and our situation. And I hope this talk will help us, all of us, to understand our emotions in a better way. So I congratulate Dr. Richa for organizing this talk that will help us, all of us, to understand the origin of our emotions. So I am thankful to all of you for your presence in this talk, and I again welcome you all in this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request all the participants kindly close your eyes for the Punjabi University Dhuni. Thank you, everyone. Welcome you all on one-day online national expert talk, Know Your Emotions. Now, I invite our worthy Vice Chancellor, Professor Arvind, Punjabi University, Patiala, for the formal inauguration of the workshop and address the participants. We are presenting you, sir, a bouquet on this equation. Kindly accept our bouquet, sir.
Well, thank you. I accept the bouquet. Thank you very much. Can you hear
Thank you,
me?
sir. Yes, sir, you are audible now, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, over to you. Kindly share your views with the participants and with us, sir.
Yeah. So I'm very happy to inaugurate and start this workshop, which is being organized by Dr. Ruchi and the department ECE under the able headship of Dr. Ranjit Kaur. It's important to organize programs and workshops on diverse topics, and this is one of those topics which is very important, uh, particularly for young people and specifically in this period of lockdown, as was mentioned. But let me put it this way, that to know one's emotions, the process one has to follow is of reflection. And reflection philosophically is a process which helps not only in understanding oneself, but it also helps in understanding various domains of knowledge. So being reflexive and being reflective is very important, and understanding emotions is part of that. Uh, using using scientific methods to understand human mind and emotions and how it works is one way. Using literature and engagement with arts is another way. So I think we should develop a very broad-based framework to understand ourselves. The understanding oneself, including one's emotions, is a rather difficult task. Uh, I mean, let me quote the famous poet from this region, Faiz Ahmed Faiz, who said that नहीं जाती कहाँ तक फिक्रे इंसानी नहीं जाती मगर अपनी हकीकत आप पहचानी नहीं जाती. So it's very difficult to know oneself, and that's why there is a large domain of exploration of human emotions, human predicament, human thought, human interactions. And I'm very happy that a technical discipline like electronics communication is engaging with this topic. So I wish you all the best for the unfolding of the workshop, and I hope all the sessions will go very well. Once again, congratulations to you and all the best for the program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your blessings, and thanks for motivating us. And in future, we will also do such type of more talks. And as you suggested yesterday, we will organize the technical talks also. Thank you, sir. We are blessed to have you in this talk. Now, I introduce you all with the today's expert speaker, Dr. Mandeep Singh ji, the famous Mandy sir of the Thapar and all over the country. I welcome you, sir, and thanks for accepting my invitation on the behalf of department. Sir is known to me from my master's degree, and before giving his introduction, I would like to share that he is the person who introduced me to the international conferences, and he is the person who put confidence in me that yes, we can do. At that time, we are very young, in the very young age, and at that time, he filled us with a lot of courage, and he involved us in the activities of the conference, and from there we built the confidence to organize the workshops, lectures and expert talks. And in coming future, we in the department going to organize international conference. Thank you, Mandy sir. Now I give you the brief introduction of Mandeep Singh sir. Dr. Mandeep Singh is currently working as professor and former head in the electrical and instrumentation engineering in Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. Dr. Singh obtained his PhD in telecardiology, Masters of Engineering in Computer Science, and Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics, Instrumentation and Control. Dr. Singh is a BEE certified energy auditor and empaneled consultant for PAT scheme. Dr. Singh has more than 25 years of teaching experience. His area of research includes biomedical instrumentation, energy conservation, alternative medicine, and many other. In addition to his regular responsibilities, he has served Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology as faculty advisor for more than 8 years. Sir has successfully handled 2 research projects and currently leading a 3-year research project of development of psychology sensors in collaboration with Technical University of USA. We want to thank Mandy sir for his great support and taking the responsibility to motivate the participant. Sir, I welcome you on the behalf of department, and we are presenting you a bouquet. Kindly accept our wishes.
My pleasure. I do accept.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Richa. Thank you so much, everyone, for giving me a beautiful introduction, and more importantly, a kind of platform where I can share my views. I will be sharing my PPT with you, and kindly let me know if it is visible in its full form or it requires something. I think it's visible now. Just give me the feedback.
Yes, sir, it's
Uh,
visible.
Okay, and I'm going to go in for its full view format.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it's
Uh,
visible.
So I would request Richa, my old student, my buddy, to be my interface for the participants as such, because I cannot see the participants now. So if at all there is any hand raising, if at all there is any question in the chat box, or if at all there is any kind of thing, technically some glitch or something, so you be my interface for the participants as such. You be my face. Anyway, my camera is off, so you are my face. So I'm assuming that most of the faculty, most of the participants are with the engineering background. Am I right?
So mostly, but we are having the participants from other streams also, because we are having the response from all over the country. As I have told you, we are having the participants from Tamil Nadu, from commerce, from psychology, and few are from the physiotherapy.
All right, I get it. So it has actually a good deal of engineering component in it, but I will not touch that part. I will be going superficially the engineering component, because as such, if you see, the title actually is Know Your Emotions and Engineering Perspective, but I will focus more on the emotions part, because this is actually 2.5 hour thing, and I will be focusing on the first part, that is the emotions part, in the allocated time, which is 1 hour for me. So
Sir, kindly also share the engineering part, as 70% participants are from the engineering. Kindly few only some time.
okay, I will give you glimpse of that as well. Thank you so
Yes,
much,
sir.
Richa,
Yes,
for
sir.
updating me on that. So, but at the same time, I don't want the people with non-engineering background to unnecessarily feel strained on that account. So I will keep it very, very simple, very, very simple. I just give you a kind of perspective which most of you understand, irrespective of your backgrounds. So let's come back to the point. Know your emotions. The first thing which comes to my mind and to your mind is, how do you define emotions? And this is a very big question, and it is still unanswered, because of no definite equation, no definite definition as such of emotion. It sounds very simple. So any feeling which we have, apart from, which is purely physical, apart from, like, if the pin gets stuck to my hand, I feel pain. So that pain is a purely physical pain. That is not an emotion. Apart from that, any kind of feeling which we have anywhere in our mind specifically, but then we have to define mind, it will be equally difficult, is called emotion. So that's how we define the emotion, as a phenomena that describes a reaction of a person in response to an event or stimulus. So the stimulus can be physical stimulus, it can be emotional stimulus, it can be anyone. But then again, I should not use the word emotional in terms of stimulus as well, because I will be moving round and round in that terms. So it's rather very, very tricky to define emotion. But in general terms, when you feel angry, when you feel frustrated, when you feel depressed, when you feel heartbroken, and sometimes you feel loved, sometimes you feel you are being cared for, sometimes there's a feeling of joy, this feeling of happiness, and feeling of excitement, feeling of any kind of feeling which you have named so many feelings, so that you can see that the common thing which we say, these are all set of emotions. So this, by example, it's more easy to understand emotions rather than by definition. So again, the stimulus that acts as an input to the human brain, and the person feels these kind of experiences, like even horror and hate, and actually people enjoy being horrified, and that's why, that is the reason why we go and see so many horror movies and listen to horror stories. So these emotions are generally short and intense, and they occur on account of presence of some stimulus. So in short, I can say that emotions determine quality of our life. If most of the times I feel joyful, if most of the times I feel enthusiastic, if most of the times I feel love in me, or to some extent passion in me, then I say my quality of life is very good. And otherwise. So this is how I give a basic introduction to what the emotions are. And if we go in for the definition, then the social uh, psychologists, they differ as far as the definition is concerned. So as such, you can say that uh, it was in 1981, there was a review which said that there are 92 definitions of emotion from the literature up to 1981. Uske baad so many other kind of definitions also came into being. So it was finally concluded that emotions arise due to activation of neural hormonal system in response to some happening that makes us experience a feeling of excitement or pleasure or displeasure, whatsoever it may be. It can be, you can say, simultaneous also, causing it simultaneously causing the change in physiological variables and affecting our behavior. This is very important. I will be stressing on this word, that simultaneously, other than causing these experiences in our brain, we have some physiological changes. For example, when we are afraid of something, or when we are excited, our heartbeat goes higher, our blood pressure increases, sometimes our mouth goes dry, and sometimes we start feeling quite sweaty, and so on and so forth. So these are the physical changes which do act. And there are some physical symptoms, there are some physical expressions which come, say the facial expressions. There can be frowns, there can be laughter lines, or laughter as such, the smile. These are all the physical manifestations of whatsoever is going inside our mind. But people have learned how to fake these physical uh, expressions, and they outwardly may be smiling, and inwardly they may be having a lot of trouble in their mind. And I'm just going to quote one Bollywood song, which always seems to assist me. तुम जो इतना मुस्कुरा रही हो, क्या गम है जो तुम छुपा रही हो. So we are faking our emotions most of the times, but then we have to know our emotions, and we need to make it very, very objective. And that's the engineering perspective of it. And why to go in for that too I shall be speaking in a while. But as such, the literature is concerned, I will be quickly moving on to the fact that uh, there are researchers who say that it's not at all possible to define emotions correctly. But then there are people who said that okay, emotion is a mental state, and it can be classified as a sensation, and can be grouped up with what's called beliefs and desires. So these kind of varied opinions are there regarding emotions. So to recognize the emotions, there are different researchers which have tried to obtain the relationship between psychological behavior and physical signals. So in engineering perspective, we will be picking up some of the physiological signals. As I've said, and these signals can be taken from the ECG from the heart, or they can be taken from brain, and we call it a EEG, electroencephalograms, and other things can be taken, like our infrared imaging can be taken, our blink rate, and our facial expressions and lines, and so many things can be collected physically to establish a relationship between the psychological behavior. And psychological means whatsoever is going inside our mind, working of mind as such, and the physical signals. So we have something called galvanic skin resistance, which tells us about the level of arousal. It's very simple. that we all know sweat is a salty fluid that is very, very conducting. So as such, if we are not aroused, we are calm, and we are not sweating for some reason other than the physical reason. If you stand in sun, you will sweat automatically. That's another reason, the physical reason. But even if you are in air conditioned room and you receive some bad news, you start sweating. So as you start sweating, what happens? Your sweat glands, they fill up with the salty water, and the resistance it reduces, because salt is a conducting thing. So the resistance between the two electrodes which are put on your hand, that reduces. So that gives us the value of that we are somewhat, we are aroused on account of something. Similarly, we have muscular tension, we have increase in heart rate, we have dryness of the mouth, and all these are the things which are indicative of the emotional changes that occur in us. So I will not go through all these literature survey, but focus more on that what is the necessity of studying emotions. Why do you want to quantify emotions? Why do you want to measure emotions? Why do you want to make this as an engineering subject, which so far is supposed to be, or has been assumed to be, limited only to psychologists or social behavior scientists as such? Because ultimately, as we are moving more and more towards artificial intelligence and robots and so many machines which are more and more human like, and we want the machines to understand our emotions, because text alone is not sufficient. Again, if you have seen one movie, PK, by Amir Khan, being in the lead, so he also there also says that if you say a simple word acha, it can be acha, and so on and so forth. As you change the tone of acha, the meaning of acha, one word, that becomes different in all the cases. So it's the emotion behind, and this emotion is picked up by the tone of the voice. So if the person is angry, the tone will be different. If the person is lethargic, the tone will be different. If the person is tired, tone will be different. The person is sleepy, tone will be different, and so on and so forth. So we want machines not to only just get the literal meaning of whatsoever we are speaking, because a lot of interaction taking place between machines, you can say computers, and us. So it's very important that machines understand the emotions and interact with us in a way normal human beings do. That okay, today sir is angry, so let's not take any chances with him. So that's what machines are able to go in for. Even in playing the games, when we play games, it's not the result, what the task is, but also what the effort is being made, that is to be quantified. So these are the needs, very one of the first basic need of studying emotions. Second is we want to objectively check the efficacy of mood altering drugs. That is, the pharmacy people, they come up with a drug and they say that it's going to elevate you, it's going to make you feel calm, or it's going to make you feel excited, or it's going to make you feel funny sometimes. So you want to check it whether it's actually making you feel like that, or it's just a placebo effect. Placebo effect means that you tell someone that okay, you take this pill and you will relax, and simply by the knowledge to the person that this pill will be relaxing me, he feels relaxed. That's we call placebo effect. So to counter this placebo effect, you want to actually know whether the pill is working or not. So you make two groups. You make one group as the control group, you make another group as the actual group. To one group, you simply give a capsule which is filled with, let us say, sugar powder, nothing in it, or something equally harmless or ineffective. But to second one, you give some dose in it, some good amount of dose in it, that's likely to change the mood. And then compare the two groups. And how do you compare? There is where we go in for the engineering aspect of it. We also need to know the emotions, because we want to screen out the mission critical personals for the emotional effects. For example, we might have you might have heard of number of times in the news that up there in the Siachen glacier and the borders, people get so emotionally frustrated that the personnel of our own armed forces they tend to attack their own buddies and their officers, and sometimes they're killing them and killing themselves as well, because anyway they are equipped with the arms. It's because of the fact that they are emotionally unstable at that moment of time. So it's a mission critical person is emotionally unstable, then it needs to be given rest or taken off the duty. For example, there's an air traffic controller. If the air traffic controller is emotionally disturbed, is not able to respond correctly, and may lead to collision of two or more airplanes, or the pilot himself, if he's not emotionally stable, is not able to respond to the stimulus which is there inside the cockpit, and he can be a danger to himself as well as hundreds of lives that are there in the plane. And if the whole debris happens to fall on the populated area, even much larger damage can happen. So these are the mission critical personals which need to be constantly monitored for their emotional state. So we have seen that we need to study emotions to prevent the cases of rage, which happens in the road. Many times I have seen, especially when the temperature is high, the temperaments also going high. Garmi mein, what happens in the hot summer days, in the hot summer roads, the drivers, they start honking and they start shouting, and this is the case of rage, because they lose control over their emotions. And if you say non-pharmaceutical, it means you go in for some kind of counseling, some kind of assistance, guidance, some kind of advice, help. So whether they are really able to change our emotions, our mood, our state of mind or not. So that's the need for studying the emotions. That's yet another need for studying the emotions. And then you see that we sometimes have negative emotions. All of us at some stage, to some extent, have certain negative emotions, and these negative emotions, they lead to depression. They can go in for the performance hindrance, marital discords, mass murders, rapes, abusive and bullish behavior, and even suicide. So these are the reasons. These are one of the good amount of reasons, as such a set of reasons which make studying emotion almost necessity. So I will take a small micro break, in the sense that if at all there are any questions from the participants, or any observations, or anything that needs to be clarified, uh, 1 minute break, and welcome the participants to ask the things if at all they have their anything in their mind they want to clarify. And Richa will help me in that. Richa,
Yes, sir, it's clear. If any participant is having any query, kindly raise your hands or unmute yourself and ask the query in between. So hope, I think it's clear to everyone. We can move forward.
okay. So, my dear friends, once again, I never wanted this to become a monologue, and that also on the one topic which might be new to you. So, we will be increasing the difficulty level as we move ahead. So, it's very important that you understand the basis of it. So, we go in for when we want to study the emotions, uh, and that also from the engineering point of view, we will be making it in 3 dimensions. Actually, it's in 3 dimensions: arousal, valence, and dominance. So I will explain all these three arousals, but to keep the things simple, I will restrict myself to only 2 dimensions, that is the arousal and valence. So what is arousal, what is valence? I will for the time being be silent on the dominance part. So it all came up with the circumplex model, and in circumplex model we see that I think you can see the pointer over here. Richa, can you see the pointer, or should I turn on the laser? I think it's better. You can see the laser now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
Okay,
visible.
okay. So you see, it was a kind of circumplex model that came. As you see that it's circumplex in the sense that anything on this side, it's 0 degree. You are happy, you're pleased. So these emotions are placed over here, and the opposite of happiness is that okay, you are miserable, you are sad. So this is opposite of it. Actually, sad is opposite of delighted, and aroused is opposite of sleepy, and annoyed is opposite of serene. So that way you can see it's a complete circle, and you can see where these emotions are all placed. But this was one of the first complex models which was given, but then it was later refined to the axis, which is called the valence axis. This is called x-axis or the valence. Valence means feeling positive or negative, good or bad. Valence means positive or negative, good or bad. And arousal means you feel excited or you are not aroused, you are not excited about it. So as such, you see that we have positive, you have negative, you have aroused feelings, you have unaroused feelings. So that way you see that most of our emotions, they get classified into four different regions. So this is the region where you are positively aroused, this is you are positively aroused, and you are positively unaroused. So this is negatively aroused, you are excited but you're excited in a negative manner, bad manner. And here you are unaroused, and that's also negative. So let's start with one by one in understanding what is positively aroused. Positive aroused means that you are delighted, you are excited, it's a positive aroused, so you have high valence and high arousal. But then you are negatively aroused means that the excitation in you is there and in the bodily form, but it's not a very good kind of excitation and bad kind of excitation. For example, you are tense, you are frustrated, so the energy level is high, aroused, but then it's on the negative side, the valence is negative side. And then you have, very different kind of feeling when the energy level is low, the arousal is low, but it's still negatively unaroused, you sad, depressed, bored, energy level is low and you're not feeling good about it. And then this is the in my opinion, being a spiritual scientist and being a meditator myself, this is the best kind of state you can have, where the excitement is low, you are calm, and at the same time you're feeling good about it. For example, you are calm itself, you are at ease, you are glad, you are meditative as such. So this is the, in my opinion, the best set, and this in my opinion is the worst set. So from being angry and frustrated, this is the third quadrant, the second quadrant as such. And the idea of us discussing the emotions is that we should be able to shift our emotions from this group of low valence, high arousal, or you can call negatively aroused things, to this kind of thing where you have high valence and low arousal, means you are calm, you are positively unexcited. So this is the way I think now you can see that once we define valence as positive or negative, once we define arousal as high and low, we can mostly place our emotions in one of these four regions. And this is what we call it as a neutral region, when you don't feel anything, good or bad, anything high, excited, or too low in energy. It's neutral region. So this is the region where sometimes you feel, how are you feeling now? Chal rahi hai, cut rahi hai, or in English you call it may, meh, may, theek hai, okay types. So this is the neutral region over here. So this is what we are going to define it, and herein all the engineering comes in to know the status of one's mind, as it may be, in spite of the fact that you may be faking it, you may be smiling it, but if you are frustrated inside, then the engineering tools, they will be able to uh, I'm trying to bring the laser back, identify if at all you are in this state, then whatsoever is inside your mind, it's having some effect on your body. And we are going to put electrodes and we are going to put sensors, either in contact with your body or remotely monitor you with the cameras in the manner to know what exactly is your state of mind. You may be smiling, so you cannot fake your emotions in this state. And that's how we actually had a very good project with DRDO, where we were monitoring the pilots. If at all they are having something of this sort, then they can be screened out, and they are taken off the roster and not allowed to fly until they come to at least this part. If not, best is this part. So they should be at ease when they are flying, because it's very mission critical. You know how much one plane costs. Not going political in profile case and so on and so forth. It's very costly affair as such. So this is what is the review of literature. I'm not going to go into the details of this review of literature, and this is tabulated as well. This is again something which we have worked, myself and my team working on that. We have worked and we have collected a lot of EEG data. That is the data which we get from the electrical signal from the brain. It's in microvolt. Micro means you divide by 1000 and then you again divide by 1000. So that is 1 micro. What you take 1 volt, everyone knows what is 1 volt. A simple battery cell is of 1.5 volt. A simple cell, the simple cell which you use in your remote controls is 1.5 volt approximately. And you divide it by 1000 and then you again divide it by 1000. That's microvolt. That's a small spikes of voltages. Those are coming on the scalp of our brain. So we put the electrodes over there and we pick the signals, and these voltages are moving up and down, and then we acquire all the signals and we amplify the signals, and then we process the signals, and then we try to derive out some data, and we can find what is your state of mind in all those 4 different types of quadrants, as I have been showing you, like positively aroused, negatively aroused, positively unaroused, and negatively unaroused. So those kind of classification can be done, and we can develop a classifier. Person from high valence, from low valence high arousal, that is from negatively aroused, angry, frustrated state, to high valence low arousal, calm, meditative, shant kind of thing. So these are the recommendations. We have also designed set of meditations which I personally conduct. It's in my voice. All those who are interested can later contact me or contact Richa, the coordinator. For I'm open to any kind of personal sessions as well, and these are all pro bono, means I don't charge any money for that. So as such, coming to the engineering aspect, which I shall be moving a bit fast over here, because this is something we have already gone in for. So ultimately, what we do is that we have a synchronizing setup. I will tell you what a synchronizing setup is a bit later. But then all those signals are acquired from the head, and these signals, they may be carrying any noise, so the noise is filtered out, and then you have number of features which are extracted from those signals which are noisy signals, and from number of electrodes which are placed on the head, and these features are given to different kind of classifiers, and ultimately we are able to place you means the subject under monitoring, that whether he or she, when I say he or she, is in low valence high arousal, high valence high arousal. So low valence high arousal means negatively aroused. So this one means positively aroused. This one means positively unaroused, and this one means low valence, low negatively unaroused. So this is the terminology which is used in classification, so that we can place you or any subject under these kind of things, and you cannot fake it, and we have good deal of accuracy. Even if we get 80% accuracy or 90% accuracy, it's considered to be very good accuracy, because it's a 4-class classification. So by chance it is only 25%. You have to put it into 4 places. It's like flip of the coin twice. You're getting into one thing, by chance it's happening, it's only 25%. If you're getting 60% accuracy, it's good. You're getting 70% accuracy, it's rather too good for us to say in terms. So what is the methodology? Again, we have a synchronizing setup, but I will not tell you what exactly is synchronizing setup, because we are going to acquire the stimulus on, we are going to present the stimulus on one computer, and we are going to acquire the signals on another computer. So to say, I will not go into the details right now, but I can tell you that how do we evoke the emotions? How do we know what is the gold standard of the emotion? How do we know that while we are designing the classifier in a person who is relaxed, who's sitting in a comfortable position on a relaxing couch and in an air conditioned environment where the lights are quite soft and there is no noise from outside, the person is well fed, the person is not having any kind of fatigue or anxiety as such, not having any kind of medication, is not under the effect of any drugs or under the intoxicants as such. Uske saath, how do we do it? So we show certain photographs, and these photographs, they appear on the screen for a very short duration of time. So these are called IAPS images. I will tell you the full form later. International Affective Picture Set, you can call it. And you see that when you have a look at all these four different types of uh, pictures, you can place it that where it happens to be. For example, uh, this is a picture which evokes you the kind of positive feeling and the high energy feeling of joy, feeling of happiness, togetherness, companionship, love. So it is positively aroused. This, on the other hand, this picture, it invokes, oh, something bad is happening to the guy. It's pain, it's anger, it's frustration. So it is negatively aroused. So if you go to a graveyard or to crematorium, and as what we are seeing all the pictures during COVID times, dead bodies burning or sometimes floating in river Ganga and so on and so forth. So those kind of things, they actually make you feel so depressed and sad about. So you are negatively unaroused. And if you see some flowers, you see some butterflies, you feel nature, you see the waves, and you feel photographs of these kind of things, lovely soft things, like these soothing flowers, and that is going to evoke the emotion for a short while. It cannot be sustained for a long time as such, but even for a short while, for 1 second or so, you will feel you are positively unaroused. It's calming, it's not arousing like this, it's calming, it's positive, it's not negative like this. So these are called IAPS images. You have a set of images, and these images are internationally validated images. And so you have shown this image, any image, and as per your response, as per your reflection to this, you can mark on the scale 1 to 9. If you're interested, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So on 1 to 9, you can mark that this kind of picture I will mark on the arousal state like this, arousal. And on the valence side, as you can see, the expression on the face, it's very negative valence, low valence. And as you come to the neutral, it becomes at the scale of 5, and then there's a slight smile, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I put a tick over here and I put a tick over here, after looking at a photograph, I will be classifying that my feeling when I'm looking at the photograph is I'm positively aroused. The arousal is high, energy is high, and I'm positively aroused. And if I put a tick over here and a tick over here, it means I am having low energy and negatively unaroused. I'm feeling depressed. If I'm feeling angry, then it is the negative part. So I will tick here in this, and I will tick here because I'm feeling angry. So this is the kind of arousal, and this is the kind of you can say, my negative state. And on the other hand, if I'm feeling very calm, very quiet, very pleasant feeling in the sense I'm meditating, then in that case, my energy, my arousal is low, but I'm feeling very positive. So I will put a tick over here and a tick over here. So this is how, when I look at the photographs, how I feel about it, I myself, with my own pen on this kind of chart, mark it. Right? This is the first part. So I have already validated that these photographs which I'm seeing at, what kind of response it is invoking in me. And my dear friends, I take liberty to just share with you that whatsoever photograph you look at, my feelings towards that photograph can be different from your feelings from that photograph. My feelings can be different. So what is internationally accepted, so these are the IAPS ratings which are internationally accepted, and these are what we made the subjects to look at. There was by and large agreement, that whatsoever international ratings were, our ratings were also quite close to it. Here also they're quite close. There can be some difference, there can be some variations, but by and large they fell into the same quadrant. I can tell you what is the reason behind it, why they are not exactly the same, why an American may not feel the same way as we Indians feel. Let's say a case of pig. If any Indian sees pig, we have seen pigs in our streets, in filth, in dirty water as such, so we don't really feel like loving pigs as such. So we don't have very positive feelings about when you see a photograph of a pig. On the other hand, Americans, they have very positive feelings about pig. Why? Because right from the beginning they have been collecting their money, their pocket money, especially as a kids, into small boxes which they call it as piggy banks. So pig for them symbolizes money, and Americans love money openly. It's not that we don't love money, but we are a little bit hypocritical about it. हम ऊपर ऊपर से कहते हैं मोह माया है, अंदर से we all desire money. So Americans are very open about it. Yes, they like money, they like it. We don't openly like it. But then our opinion about pig is quite different from Americans' opinion about pig. Are you clear about it? So that's what you see. Same can be the case, the opposite you can say, can be the case for cow. When Americans look at cow, they think cow is something which they will use it for getting milk, and cow is something which they will use it to get beef, and cow is something which provides them with the meat to be eaten as such, in different kind of forms. I will not elaborate because many people do not even like to listen to it. But our Indian mentality is that cow is a sacred animal. Cow is mata, Gau Mata. And we don't even think like why people feel about, or how can they eat such a sacred animal as such. So depending upon your orientation, your personal experiences, your personal beliefs, looking at the same photograph, one person may feel differently and the second person may feel differently. So when we are going to make use of these photographs or these pictures to quantify our emotions, it's very, very important that first of all we take their opinion about those photographs, get it ticked. How do they feel? In which of the categories would you like to place this photograph in? So that is what all about, is how do we evoke the emotions by showing photographs to the people around. So again, as my style of teaching is not to go in for long monologues, I will take 1 minute micro break and ask if there are any questions, or you want any clarifications, or you want more examples, or you want to share something, because teaching and learning, they are simultaneous processes. Even I want to learn from you. Over to Richa.
हाँ जी सर
Any response from the participants?
any question or query from the participants side kindly unmute and ask your question, or write down in the question answer at your right side of your panel.
So you have Q&A.
Yes, Q&A. They can type their queries there, sir.
In 512 characters. That's what I can read.
So no query.
All right. So going ahead on the same line, what we do is that we take two computers. On one computer, we show the photographs, and on another computer, we pick up the EEG signal. And then we connect the two computers in a manner that there's a proper synchronization. So we know at what point of time which photograph was shown, and that all record is available on the EEG which we collect. So this is what I mean by synchronization. So this is the top of the head. You can see this is the top of the head. If you look at any person's head, this is the nose, this is left ear, this is right ear, and then these are the points where you put electrodes. So we call these are the frontal electrodes. We call these as the central electrodes with C. You call it as temporal electrodes with T. You call it as parietal electrodes with P. You call occipital electrodes with O, and so on. And this is on the forehead. On the forehead, right? And this entire thing is called standard. This is standard 2020 system, and the image is presented in a manner that first of all we display the picture for 1 second, then we place something very neutral, simple cross. It's not even Christian cross, because Christian cross again has some emotions, good or bad depending upon your belief set. But it's simple cross which is not supposed to have any motions for 1.5 seconds. Then again some other picture, and then again the same old cross, and then yet another picture, and then again the same old cross. So this is going to happen repeatedly. So this is the point where you display the picture as we have shown earlier, and then you give some time for the brain to settle down to the emotions which are evoked by having a look at this 1 second picture. And the waves, they continue to persist for some time, and in 1.5 seconds they settle down, and then we have second picture. So that's how we are collecting the data, by showing different pictures to the subjects, and these pictures are already validated by the same subject about what kind of emotions they will be having if they see this picture anytime, at least on that day or that period of time. So what we do is that without telling the subjects, we arrange some sequence. That is, we can have negatively aroused pictures, and then cross symbol. Then we can have positively aroused pictures, and then again a symbol. Then we can have positively unaroused pictures, and so on. And again the cross symbol, and then we have negatively unaroused pictures, and then again cross symbol, and this thing continues for several minutes. And in those minutes the emotions of subject are captured. If at all the person happens to blink his eye and something happens, so that particular picture set is that particular EEG as such is taken out. That's something we will discuss later. So as I said that we need to have a synchronizer between the two machines. So we developed it. It was a low cost thing. We saved something like $3,000. And I'm not going to go into the details of the synchronization system as such. This is something which we presented in a paper, and the paper was accepted, and it's available online on all the things which we made in for low cost synchronization between the two computers, one computer acquiring our signals from the brain through EEG, and the second computer which is showing the pictures of different emotions as such. So this is what I am getting through. But as such, we acquired signals from 160 trials on these 4 classes of emotions, and we filtered the signals through certain frequency, and this is what actually we did. This is something which all, even with a non-technical background, will be able to understand. We showed the photograph at this moment of time. This is the point where we show the photograph, and we see that the voltages which we are capturing from different electrodes, they have a tendency to move in this format, all right. And you can have positive peaks and you can have negative peaks, and these peaks, they occur in certain band. So if it is occurring in this band, 100 millisecond, it means that anything which is between 80 and 120 millisecond, anything which is less than 80 will come in this category, anything which is more than 120 will come in this category. But in this category of 80 to 120, so you have a window from 80 to 120. So whatsoever is the maximum possible positive thing happening, what's amplitude and what time it happens, what time it's happening. So these two things are noted, and these two things, they become the input to our classifier, right? So we are picking up all the positive peaks, we are trying to pick up all the negative peaks in the designated time band. Time band means something around 75, something around 75 millisecond, something around 100 millisecond, something around 135 millisecond, and so on and so forth. So wherever the peak is happening, whether it's a positive peak or it's a negative peak, and where the peak is happening, what is the height of the peak and what is the exact time of that peak in that window, right? So we note that. So from there, we are able to get the features, and all this information goes to the classifier, and the classifier is able to train itself to classify the emotions into 4 categories. So as such, which we used, I just given you the example, we used something around 100 millisecond, 200 millisecond, 300 millisecond, the positive peaks and the negative peaks, and the amplitude of these peaks, and the time, exact time, the nomenclature of the time, what was the time at which it happened. So those things are also obtained from this kind of thing. So once again, to know the emotions, what is happening inside this person's brain, which is picked up from the EEG. Electrodes are placed on the head and the signals are acquired, and these signals, we get the features in terms of all those P100 to P200, N200, as we have shown in the last slide, and they go to classifier, and this classifier tells us whether the arousal is high or low, and this another classifier says whether the classification is positive and negative, and these two things are combined to get into the 4 kind of sets. So this is the 2-dimensional representation of emotions. Going for the selection of the features which we get, we are reducing the features. So many features coming from so many different electrodes, we select only those features which are actually significantly changing with the different kind of emotions, and that's, we filter it out again using number of techniques, and ultimately these features are used for classification of our human mind into 4 states. I'm repeatedly telling you 4 states of emotions. So we selected 24 right-handed male subjects, healthy subjects, not under the influence of any drug or intoxication, and then we went in for the error analysis of our classifier. I think I will again be very fast. What do we mean by true, positive, and false, negative, and these are the things which I'm not going to discuss at this moment of time. But this is what we did: classification on different electrodes, on FZ electrode, on CZ electrode, PZ electrode, and so on and so forth, and got these results. And so you can see that the results in some of the cases were as good as 92% over here, and in some cases they were not very good, but still they were something around 60%. And I told you that in 4-class classification, anything which is more than 25% is happening not by chance. So even 62% is not bad. But then we went on. This is the first of the initial trials. This is what is called confusion matrix. And then we went in for different kind of variations on by changing the electrodes, by changing the techniques in which we are going to filter the signals. The results kept on improving, and this is what I'm again not going to go in for much of the details into what we did to fine tune our classifier so as to get better and better results by choice of the electrodes and by choice of the classification techniques which we used in signal processing. So this is ultimately we come to this point that we obtained accuracy of 85% as compared to what other researchers have reported their accuracy to be 75%. This is a major kind of achievement by our researchers team, that what rest of the world was able to go up to 75% accuracy. Our team, we have accepted, we have published results on this, that our accuracy jumped from approximately 75% to approximately 85%. I'm giving you a round figure over here. So again, this was about the classification of our emotions. But then the question comes that how can we control? We have measured the emotions. How can we control the emotions? So before I go into the emotional control part, now at least I'm still open to any of the questions you might be having from the speakers or from the audience. I'm open to that. If at all there are any questions, you can ask me or put it in the question answer chat box.
Hello, sir. So there is no question in the chat box.
Can I ask one question if permission is on?
Sure.
Yes, ma'am. You can
I'm
ask the
Archana.
question.
I'm Archana Sharma, speaking from NSHM Knowledge Campus, Kolkata. I just want to know one thing, like we're talking about emotions and everything. Yes, I absolutely understand. I am loving the session, the way it's going on, and I've requested that if the PPT can be provided to us for our future endeavors, and whenever we'll feel stuck, it will be a very good role play for us to, go through again and again and revive things. But my problem is that since being in the education industry, online systems are have become the part of today's teaching educational platform. Now what happens, sometimes we as an educators, when we try to give our best in terms of giving the same kind of emotions, transmitting our contents via emotions as well, so that the content should be received by receivers, and we don't get that emotions back. How to uplift and keep that motivation on the time, or like all the time? It's really very challenging for for the speaker to, if you're not getting the response, you can, I think I'm able to make my sense what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate, I really appreciate your concern. It's a big challenge. And had you not asked this question, Archana ma'am, I too would have started feeling that I'm talking to a screen and no one is listening. And the moment Archana Sharma responded to by talking back to me, I feel that, okay, I'm talking to human beings. So it's very important for the speaker to keep his or her motivational level also high by asking the audience to respond to. And here we have a time limit of 1 hour. That's why even then I was taking 1 minute micro breaks in between, so that the system becomes interactive, so that I should not feel as a speaker that I'm talking to a screen. And if I start feeling, it will get reflected in my tone also. And that's not, if the speaker is unmotivated, right? If the speaker is bored, the tone of the speaker will change, and that's going to be that's will be conveyed to the listener also. So it's very important to keep interaction on. That's why, as you have seen, taking small micro breaks, and had it been a regular class, I would have taken much more frequent breaks and gone in for much more question answers. But that the same PPT what I've shown would have taken 10 hours if we go into the details of all the engineering aspects also it. So yes, it's a very big challenge, and the answer to that is that by making people respond, making people on the other side of the online channel respond by question answers, by asking questions, or by sharing views, or sometimes asking them to switch on their cameras, like Richa has the camera on, and Richa will smile, and then I will be able to appreciate that smile also, like
Yes,
she's doing right now,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So that's the way I feel I'm looking at Richa and feeling like having a face-to-face kind of interaction. So we can ask some of the students some of the times to switch on the camera in between. Of course, we have limitation on the bandwidth. We cannot ask every person to switch on the camera, but especially in case of exams and all, it's very, very important. And we, at least in our Thapar University, we keep all the cameras on, even microphones on while the examinations is on. But that takes a big, big, big toll on the bandwidth, which our servers may or may not be able to handle. So in regular classrooms, we can selectively call out the names. We can call out the names to the students, like or by roll numbers, whatsoever you say. Okay, Vivek, you turn your camera on. I want to see what are you doing. Or okay, Richa, tell me, or Amity, tell me, or whatsoever names you have in the class, so that you can have a kind of response while having a limit on the bandwidth, so as to have as close face-to-face kind of interaction on online as possible. So I think I have answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for asking me the question as well. And another question which I can see on the question answer session is that emotions change moment to moment. How does its working change? How does its working change? So I would like Manjeet sir to kindly elaborate what he wants to ask.
Sir, what I come to know from your presentation, and it's going in a really a wonderful way. But the thing is, the question comes into my mind is that the emotions are instantaneous many times. And when you are putting the electrodes on the head of a patient or any human being, then our project is accessing only for that period only. Now, how this idea, this research, this work or project is making it applicable to the real life and the uses or the areas? Yeah.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We are taking small epochs of 2.5 seconds. You must have seen we had taken 1 second by showing the photograph, and 1.5 second for letting the motion go down to natural state. So this is while we are training it. This is while we are training our software. We know that this is what kind of emotion. Later on, we will be showing just the crosses, a positive cross, and then a X-like cross, and the positive cross and X-like cross, and we can go on showing all these kind of things. And this thing is done, let us say, for 1 minute, say for 1 minute or for 2 minutes, and then we will say that in all that kind of crosses and plus signs which were shown, how many times the subject was feeling positively aroused, how many times the subject was feeling negatively aroused, how many times the subject was feeling depressed, in that 2 minute span as such, right? Because it is generally found that the person who's depressed is generally depressed. The person who's frustrated is generally depressed, frustrated. So even for that 2-minute span or for 3-minute span, while he is being subjected to this kind of examination, so journal tendencies of his thought, because they will be captured very effectively. They will be captured because I have something going in my mind. So they say that there are 60,000 thoughts which are happening in our mind every day, and we take something like 24,000 breaths. It means that while we are inhaling, we are having a different kind of thought. While we are exhaling, we are having a different kind of thought. But then the point to be noted is that all these 60,000 thoughts are not unique thoughts. Most of the thoughts are repetitive. You can see most of the thoughts are repetitive. One very simple example. Say I am your boss. Just assume I'm your boss, right? And I say something nasty to you, right? I'm sorry, I'm using these words. Don't take it personally. That you are a lazy person, you are good for nothing, you are a burden on the society, you are a burden for the institute. Had it been my approach, I would have fired you long time back. Suppose I say these 3-4 sentences to you, right? I have said it only once, and you will keep on listening to this for I don't know how many number of times, how many number of days, and how it's going to unsettle you, and how you will be repeatedly thinking about these things, repeatedly thinking about, and that you're going to carry this baggage to your home, and then you will feel irritated, and whatever your wife says, or spouse, if I make it gender neutral, whatever your spouse says, your response to your spouse will be based on that, your response to your kids will be based on that. And if khana kaisa hai, kaisa khana hai, bakwas khana hai, because you are feeling frustrated throughout. So if you are monitored for 2 minutes, then most of the thoughts which are predominantly there will be captured in that 2.5-3 minute span as well. So this is my answer to it, right? I think that's, you are satisfied with the answer, or you want more elaboration on that?
Right, sir, you are on the track, and you are plotting, trying to plot the instantaneous and the number of instants. Because
Yes.
the idea was skipping in my mind that the moods are, you say,
Swinging.
changing at the instantaneous. Yeah. But the
So
thing, what comes
yes.
to after discussion in my mind is that why not we plot all these emotions on a graph so that we can see the instant to instantaneous variation on the plot there.
They can be plotted. I mean, they can be plotted with little bit of delay, because this plotting also takes some
Right.
time. So there'll be little bit of delay.
Right.
You can say 1 minute delay or half a minute delay, if you want to go in for continuous monitoring as such.
Okay.
So
My idea is that why not we make a vertical axis of the moods, different moods you are plot, and with the time, if you
yes, it
plot
can be
that
done.
to the plot, then it will be very easy to interpret the things about the person who you are
Actually,
investigating.
instead of going in for vertical axis and time, it should be surface with
Yeah.
time. Surface, because surface captures 2 dimensions, right? So
Okay.
it can be graphically shown in form of surface with respect to time, moving on and on and on. Surface, you have pits and valleys on both axes.
Right.
So it's capturing x, y
Okay, sir.
versus time.
It's over to.
And thank you so
Okay,
much.
it's over from me.
Thank you, sir.
So there's another question: how this project useful to real life in medical? Oh wow, this is what my current slide is on. So I move ahead, which is going to answer this question also. See, ultimately, it's all about interventions. This intervention means that you are in one state of mind, and I want to bring you to another state of mind, and I can do it in giving you something. It can be a piece of advice, it can be some action. I can ask you to, okay, come, let's dance together, and that's going to change your mood, or we can have a drink together. I'm not exactly recommending it as such, but there are many people who change their mood. Chalo ek ek peg lagate hain, kind of thing. And that is, you can say, pharmaceutical intervention. We are giving alcohol, and my recommendation is that chalo meditation karte hain, right? So this is what we did. So we actually were able to bring the people from negatively aroused, that is the worst kind of emotion, negatively aroused, frustrated, angry, to positively unaroused, shant, calm, right? Through meditation. It was a 31-minute meditation. It was performed on set of subjects, and then not only the subjects were asked after the meditation that are you feeling okay, they were actually monitored for their EEG signals, and the EEG signals verified that they were actually coming from the bad state to the good state. So this is what I show over here on the slide, which is over here, that we are able to monitor the state of mind. So once I say mind, so let me explain that mind has no physical existence. Brain has a physical existence. Brain has a physical existence. But what's happening inside the brain? What are the signals which are happening? So working of brain is defined as mind, medically speaking. Otherwise, mind has no physical, it's just like software. Like software is not having any physical existence. Physically, what exists is a computer, hardware, microprocessor. Physically, you have memory and so on and so forth. But what's a software? Software is the data which is inside that hardware. So similarly, mind is something like that software. So all those feelings of anger, frustration, disgust, they come to one category, and that's supposed to be the worst category, as I said, and the best is that of positively unaroused, calm, relaxed, at ease, feeling glad about it. So this is what we did, but we did it through the intervention, which was non-pharmaceutical. It was half an hour meditation, 31-minute meditation, as I said, approximately half an hour, and it was to be done in sitting in a silent room, and it was in my voice. I asked them to do something, and the electrodes were placed on their head at F3 and F4 positions as the whole thing was gone through the meditation. And again, as we said, that we showed some neutral image by 1.5 seconds. So these are neutral images used to evoke the emotion. So in neutral image, the image is not evoking any emotion. So whatsoever is the emotion running in your mind, that predominantly it's coming up, because the you don't feel positive, excited or angry on, or any kind of emotion is evoked by looking at these pictures. The pictures are just to bring out the original emotions running in your mind from time to time. And the meditation steps, of course, I will not be working on the meditation right now, time being the limitation. Otherwise, I would have given half an hour's meditation session to you also to relax. So this is what is the result. I will elaborate that we selected 20 people, again right-handed male people, and again in several trials, and again at the times when they were feeling angry, frustrated. It happens usually after declaration of the results, when they don't get the proper results, they don't get the grades, and they feel so frustrated about this. This is the kind of state students normally have. Or when any person is going through a recent breakup and so on and so forth. So the number of reasons to be in this state of frustration over here. Just imagine that this is the state of frustration, and it's actually verified using electrodes. And we gave this meditative intervention. We did it with the police people also, because police people, they're always under hard stress. You know, ask any traffic cop who has been standing on the crossroad for 8-hour duty, and then everyone calling him by different names in Punjab. They call it mama and so on and so forth. It's not very respectable thing. So after they come from the duty, they are feeling so bad about it. They're normally in this state, and then they tend to take some pharmaceutical intervention in terms of alcohol and so on. So after just 31-minute meditation, we found that there was only one person who did not respond to the meditation, only one. And out of 20, 16 came to this state. Out of 20, 16 came to the state of high valence, low arousal. Means they were positive, but they were unaroused. They were positive and unexcited. However, there were 3 people who shifted from positive to negative, from negative to positive, but their excitement level could not be contained. They were still excited. Their arousal was here. But this is not bad. I mean, this is real bad. This is good, and this is the best. So out of 20, half an hour meditation, if out of 20, 19 people come to a good state, and out of 19, 16 into very good state, you can very well imagine that this half an hour meditation for them really works wonders on them. In one of the cases which are not showing over here, even their blood pressure came down by something like 10 to 15 units. 10 to 15 units means jiska pehle the person who was having let us say the diastolic blood pressure, jisko we call it as upper blood pressure of 160. From 160 it came down to 150 or even 145, 10 to 15, and in some cases even 20. So it moves towards. Otherwise, in half an hour, even if you take a pill, it will take some time to work. So just by making them relax, making them go through this meditation procedures, their blood pressure also comes down, their emotions come down, they start feeling good about it. So that's what the kind of experiments which we did, and that's what we had the prediction of the classes. And again, the accuracy was measured through this confusion matrix. So this is what we say, that this intervention had an efficacy of around 80%, even if you do not consider the 3 in the sense of high arousal. Even 16 people going to the best state from the 20 in the worst state, even this is 80%. And if anything which works for 80%, if in my class I have, let us say, 50 students, and I'm able to relax 40 students out of the 50 who were in frustrated state, as a teacher or as a meditator, I don't call myself guru, I'm nowhere near guru, but as a meditation mentor, you can say it means efficacy is very high. And it's not only by feeling, it's actually picked up by the electrodes which are placed on your head, and it's classified by a machine, not giving any biases. So this is the way we say we worked upon in the cases. So to sum up, I think these are the results, and lots of things can be done in future. Here we have just considered the arousal and the valence. We were silent on the dominance axis. We can work on the dominance axis as well. We can work upon making the things which are even more accurate and faster, and we can fuse in more of the things like respiration rate, heart rate, GSR, body temperature, ECG. All these things can be fused in for improving the results even better, maybe 90%, 95%, 99%. That sky is the limit, and we can go in for wireless EEG. We can go in for development of proper cognitive lab. We did not have that lab in our university, but these other things which are lined up in for the future, we can make a stimulus not only through photographs but through video and audio stimuli as well. So I think within the time frame which was allotted to me by Richa, my very sweet student, this is where I finish my talk. Still open to any kind of discussion or critical suggestions as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Any query from the participant side? Kindly unmute and ask your questions.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Kindly suggest some tips for keeping ourselves happy. How can we control the angriness?
Yeah, I think this
Sometimes
is,
it is unnecessary angriness.
yes,
So how
yes,
can
yes.
we control? Please give some tips.
I can read one question. How can I control my angriness? Rowdy Rathore, there was one movie, Akshay Kumar. He said, "Don't angry me." That is what he says in his English. That I liked it. So, so one very simple way to control your anger. It is simple, but the problem is that you will forget it when you are angry. This is the major problem. If you are aware of your anger and then you remember that I am getting angry and I have to control it, then you will never get angry. Only problem is that you forget it when you are angry. But then if somehow with practice, with little anger you get, the simple way is you focus on your breath. You focus on your breath. You see how the breath is becoming short and short and fast and fast. And to control your anger, one very simple tip is to take long, deep breaths. Like inhale for a long duration of time and then exhale for a long duration of time. Long duration means 20 seconds, 30 seconds, right? So normally we are having something like 12 to 16 breaths in 1 minute, and then try to make it in 1 or 2 breaths. That is, you go on inhaling and inhaling and inhaling for 30 seconds, and then you go on exhaling and exhaling and exhaling for 30 seconds. So you keep a watch in front of you and you practice this kind of thing. You will see that your 1 cycle of inhaling can be prolonged to 1 second, 1 minute. Sometimes it can be prolonged to 1.5 minutes and 2 minutes, and try to give a pause in between. So in yogic terms, it is, this pause is called kumbhak. Kumbhak means you hold your breath, right? Rechak. Rechak means you exhale, and then you purak. Purak means you inhale. So you inhale and then you hold, and then you exhale, and then you hold for as long as you can. And as you see, your mind will be there in monitoring your breath, in making the holds longer, in making the inhalations longer, in making your exhalations longer. That I promise you will forget. You will forget why I was angry. I mean, where has the anger gone? And you know, your spouse will be more happy than you are once you start practicing this kind of anger control on yourself. This is a very simple tip. There are so many other things, but I think the simplest and very effective as well, controlling the breath.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir, for explaining it well. And any other query?
Yes, there is one carrier. This just nu kiਵੇਂ control kita jave. See, there are a number of ways again on control of the stress. One way is without going into depression, we accept the things. Ke sara, 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 whatsoever will be. The future is not for us to see. Ke sara, sara. This is a song. I'm not singing it actually, but there's a song. Ke sara, sara. Whatsoever will be, will be. So we submit to the will of the Almighty, but at the same time, do not go into inaction. Do not go into inaction means that जो होना है वही होना है, हमारे हाथ में क्या है, इसलिए हम अपने बेड में पड़े रहते हैं, कुछ नहीं करते. And the people who like to remain in bed, like me, for example, given an option, I will like to do everything from my bed. There's a word for that. I'm just sharing it you out of the context. It's called cleanophile. I'm a cleanophile. Cleanophile means person who likes to spend most of his time in bed. But then nowadays, with so many things happening online, a lot can be achieved. Sitting or lying in your bed properly. You have a proper laptop and a proper headphone and so on and so forth. You can have all online classes also on from your bed itself. So you can be a clinophile as well as you can be very actively engaged. I think I can go on talking and talking and talking on this, but I will just make use of one expression to answer your question, that whatsoever your ambition is, define it, be definite about it, and this definiteness of your purpose is going to control your mind, and whosoever controls his mind, his own mind, conquers the world. Man jeete jagjeet. Man jeete jagjeet. How to control your mind? You can conquer your mind. I'm making a statement, very simple and very emphatically. I'm going to make a statement which states like this: you can control your mind simply by keeping it busy through definiteness of purpose. कभी यहाँ, कभी वहां, कभी ये, कभी वो, कभी हाँ कभी ना, wariness of mind, indecisiveness, not fixing a target, not defining the milestones, not working on that milestones, not sticking to your milestones are the major reasons for failure. And failure means, okay, something I have failed, no issues. Failure doesn't mean defeat. Defeat is when you stop after facing few failures. So failures are okay, right? You should feel that every failure is a stepping stone to your success and it is not your defeat. I think इसके ऊपर हम और ज़्यादा नहीं बोलेंगे because this is not the topic right now. It was more about the emotions, but this is the general tip I am sharing with you. Thank you so much. Any more questions?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for well explaining the queries of the participants. Now I request our Dean, Faculty of Engineering and Research, Professor Manjeet Singh Patel ji, kindly
मैं आवाज बड़ी घट आ रही है ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ना.
kindly conclude the today's expert talk. So over to Dr. Patel, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I have read or heard a lot about thoughts, desires, emotions, but this is one of the very first lecture which I have attended where basically emotions are being correlated to the electrical signals. They are represented in very technical way, and to quantify them and relating to the various human body parameters. So it's really, for me at least, very enlightening and a new thing. And I also hope that all the participants must get something from here, which will be very useful to them for their future endeavors. And I congratulate Mandy Sirji for sparing time and enlightening us with his work and work of his students and colleagues and his future ideas. And I also thankful to Dr. Richa and his team and HOD Ranjit Kaur for organizing such a nice talk. So thank you to all and wish you good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks from my side as well for once again providing me a platform to share my views. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, now I request Dr. Manjeet Singh Bhamra, sir, to give the formal vote of thanks to all the participants and to our dear speaker. Manjeet Singh Bhamra, sir.
Okay, it was already been, you say, addressed by our Professor Dr. Manjeet Singh Patel. But anyway, it's a very good opportunity that I am coming in touch with Mandy sir after, I think, 3-4 years. We were assembled at one FDP in Amritsar. And he had a very good understanding of the technical things regarding the microcontroller, microprocessor embedded system. And he had given the talk about that also. But this is a totally a different idea where he has given the practical application of the projects where we can gauge, calculate our emotions. And you are doing, sir, very good work related to it. But I hope in the coming days you will also make us some device which is handheld and useful for the people who can be, you say, of a utility to know the emotions in a calculated way. Anyway, it was a wonderful session, and although the questions were asked by few people, but it was too useful for our engineering people, and they will be motivated from this. I'm really grateful, thankful from the department and from my end also, and all the participants who have been available throughout the talk. That means, I mean to say, the talk related to 41 members, participants, they remain connected to this talk. So it means that all are taking interest, pain in it, and to attend it. So I'm really grateful to all the participants. And on the same way, I'm congratulating our department, our host, Dr. Richa, and the current head of the department, Dr. Ranjit Kaur, that they are continuing this kind of the feature. And in this scenario of the COVID, it's becoming too important to open up our mind and to discuss the things with the people and to share our ideas. If we are sharing and then we are continuing and working in that area towards our technical field. Anyway, in the overall nutshell, it's a very good talk, and we hope more from Dr. Mendy, sir, and he will again accept our invitation in the coming technical talks. Thank you. Wonderful, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. Now I request the participants kindly unmute one by one, and if anyone wants to give the feedback about the session, it is open for the discussion.
Okay, Richa, I would like to respond to Dr. Manjeet Singh that we are already having a project with Virginia Tech University. We are developing dry electrodes for, as you said, handheld device which can be worn for a longer duration of time without application of any gels. So you are working something on that. Hopefully something will come out of that. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good, sir. Good, good.
Any participant can unmute and kindly give the feedback. Archana ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, all the respected speakers, and thank you so much, Richa ma'am. From the time, like when I started being associated with your university, you kept on giving us the opportunity to listen to various experts, and that is, I really, I'm thanking you from bottom of my heart for facilitating us with such kind of learning opportunities, and all the speakers and organizing team. I extend my heartfelt gratitude towards you all, and it was very informative session. I really loved to be one of the participant of this, and keep on sharing these learning opportunities further also. And lots of best wishes to everyone. Thank you so much, and keep safe in this pandemic time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views, and definitely we will be connected with you in future also. And I will be sharing with you the admission brochures of our department. Actually, the admission process is going on. So I will share that with you so that you can send the candidates from your place here.
Absolutely.
Any other participant who wants to share?
Dr. Richa, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਘਟ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ.
Okay, any participant who wants to share his views?
Hello, good afternoon, all of you. I would like to thank Dr. Mendy sir for giving us a live learning lesson, and I congratulate ECE department for organizing such a very informative session here today. So thank you, ECE department, Dr. Richa and Dr. Ranjit, for all of you. Thanks a lot.
Sir, our Dean Academics sir is with us, and I want to ask sir, kindly share your views, sir. Sir, kindly unmute and share your views with us. Sir, Shad sir, he is not able to unmute. Any other participant who can share his feedback about the talk? So, okay, so from the department, on the behalf of department and Punjab University Patiala, I thank you, sir, for sparing time and for sharing the valuable lecture with us. Thank you so much. And thank you, participants. Hope you will get something from this lecture and it will be helpful for your future. With these words, thank you so much. And I am ending the meeting. Mandy sir, can I?
Yes, you can end this meeting, but we will remain in touch.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, participants. You can leave the meeting.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Ji.